Hello, and welcome to the next installment of the Feature Focus series. My name is Anya. I'm on the customer success team here at Tola Data. You may recognize me from the previous Feature Focus. I'm joined with Hilda today, our product manager, and she's going to help us out with the demo portion. If you want to say hi, Hilda.
Hi everyone, thank you for joining us today. We are very excited to show us our next feature.
We are. Thanks, Hilda. Yes, we're very excited to introduce this today. It's our brand new feature. Some of you may have already seen it in the platform, so we're excited to present it to you all today. Again, this will be the usual run of things, so it is interactive. You will be able to ask your questions throughout it via Mentimeter, and we will answer them at the end of the session. But as always, you can get in touch with us if you do have any other questions throughout. I'll give it another 20 seconds there for just a few more people to join, and then we can get going. So this is actually the third feature focus we've done in the last month, and it's the third new feature that we've presented. So with the feature focus series, it has been an installment of our different features from the very start of how to create a project right through to our new features. So we were looking at them in a sort of chronological way. But now that we've got through all our features, we're presenting our new features in this series. So if you do have any questions about our other features, you can go back on our YouTube and check out this series, or also on our website. If you scroll down, you will see our knowledge base, and these videos are also there. So with that, I think we can get going. So this is the Mentimeter. You can either enter this code on menti.com or scan that QR code with your device, and it will bring you to a screen where you can pop in your question throughout the session, and again, we can answer them at the end. So to kick off then, the indicator library, this feature in a nutshell, basically allows org admins to define standard indicators for their organization and then allow them to organize them within the indicator library. So you'll see throughout the demo, that's through creating different sets and different lists of indicators. And this helps with the standardization across your organization and supports an effective indicator planning. Which part of the application does this sit in? So you'll see as we add more features, this graphic gets smaller and smaller and harder to see. But this just basically highlights that the indicator library is its own new tab on the left-hand navigation bar. So it's its own entire new tab that you can click into and see a list and sets of your indicators there. So this is the layout of the platform here, and you can see it'll be on the bottom left. So this on the right-hand side here is just a screenshot of where it sits. So you can see it down there on the bottom highlighted is the indicator library. So how does this feature actually work? So once an indicator is created in the library, the org admin can then push this indicator from the library into a project. They can push it into one project, or they can push it into multiple projects either. The project user then, once the org admin has it set up, the project user can also pull these standard indicators from the library into their project. This is a quick look of the actual feature within the platform. So you can see here when you click into the indicator library, there will be 3 tabs at the top. The first one is the indicator list. We then have the indicator sets, which is the second tab, and the third tab is add to project. Hilda will be presenting this live on the platform, so she will go into all this in a lot more detail. But basically, I just want to highlight a few important points and just to get you familiar with it now. It is quite straightforward and it is quite intuitive, so I'm sure if you already had a look around, you'll be familiar with some of this, and it is the usual layout. In terms of, in this, what we're looking at here, we have a list of all the indicators that are in the different sets. So on the left-hand side here, we have the sets, we have just the name of the set, and in the middle then we have the name of the indicator. You will see there I have the first one selected, and just to point out that each of these indicators are customizable indicators. So once you click into an indicator, you then have all the kind of standard things that you can customize within an indicator. A new little feature that you will see within this, though, is this small lock icon. And when that is locked, that means that as an org admin, you have the control and power to set that, so that when, say, a project admin does pull that power, or edit user, that will be locked and they won't be able to edit it. So it's just for those real secure standard indicators across your organization, so that you know what can be edited, and you can change that for each customizable item. Another thing just to point out in this, on the right-hand side here, you will see active and archive toggle. What this means is that if you want to remove an indicator from your list, you would toggle this on or off, or that it will show you what is visible and what's not. This is sort of like a delete feature, because of course we have to keep all the indicators in the platform if they are in use. We kind of manage that you don't delete indicators, that you just archive them. So if they are being used and they are collecting data, that won't affect your data that is being collected. The next tab within the indicator library here is the different sets. So first we would have seen a list of all the indicators, and then within the sets, that is where you can really start organizing them and adding particular indicators to your sets. And this is if you have standard indicators within different projects, you can then organize them here. So that way, if you want to add a whole set to different projects, you will have the power to do that. The final tab then is just how you actually push them to the projects and how you actually utilize them in the system. So this is kind of a very straightforward standard setup. You would be familiar with all these drop downs from just adding different indicators. So you can select a indicator list, you can select indicators from that set, or you could select the whole set. And then down at the bottom, that is just the different projects that you can then push the indicators to. I hope you're following all of this, but if you're not, that is fine, because Hilda's going to run through and give you a full breakdown of all of this as well. The key benefits of the indicator library, of course, it helps with standardization across your organization. So it ensures the indicators are following reporting standards also. So if you are an organization, and I know I would have worked with some clients before that have different country offices, they're all reporting on the same thing, but there might be slight nuances to how they enter their indicators or indicator numbers, whatever it may be. And this can get quite confusing then when you're going to aggregation level, or even our next point here, where it enhances the comparability between projects for accurate and quality aggregation across projects. So if you know if all those indicators are set the same and they're all in the respective projects, you can be really secure and confident that that data is being corrected correctly, and that there's just kind of a high quality across all your different projects. The third point there is the efficiency to create indicators plans with confidence that your indicators are correct with preset or customizable data. And that is that you can, in terms that you can lock each of the customizable fields, so that as an org admin or as kind of the super user over your project, you will know what your colleagues are able to change and really able to edit. And again, this speeds up the whole process as well. Instead of manually or bulk importing indicators, you can really quickly just push them into the respective projects. Finally there, you can conveniently manage the indicators by adding multiple indicators to multiple projects at once. So again, just saving time in being able to really quickly add them to the projects. With that, I'm going to pass over to Hilda, and she's now going to run through the feature in the platform, and I'm going to pop up this on screen as well. So if you do have any questions throughout, you can log on there and ask your questions. With that, Hilda, I'll pass over to you.
Thank you so much, Ayn, and I hope that has given you a good introduction to this new incredible feature that we've covered in the last few weeks. So the feature is called Indicator Library. We are having, as Ayn has already pointed out, a storage of at least all your indicators. You can have them at org level, you can have them at regional level, so that all users can be able to use them and utilize this as a standardization. The greatest other benefit, as she's already pointed out, is that you can already distribute this within the projects, so that way it is a one step as opposed to getting into all the individual projects and then adding the indicators one by one, even if by bulk process, but you'd have to get into each and every project. So I'm going to show you how you're going to go about this. So the screen I'm showing right now is indicator library. You're going to see it here, just after the dashboards and the menu on the left. So once you see that, then you can see that you have two main tabs. You have, in the wrong page, sorry about that. So you'll see three main tabs. The first tab is a standard indicator list. That is just a whole entire list of all the indicators that you may have created for your organizations. And then we'll have standard indicator sets. That is the second tab. The second tab has a set is just a grouping of the indicators, so into different, so that it gives you a way to be able to manage them and organize them. The third tab is add to project. As Anya has already mentioned, this is how now you utilize them to put them within the project. So we're going to start with a group, which is the set. We're going to create a new standard indicator set. So this is where you will see the button. You add a new set, and then maybe let's call our new set health. Maybe it's global, so global health indicators. And then it's mandatory to add a name, but it's not mandatory to add a description. So if you want to add a description, you can add that. Otherwise, you can leave it open. You can cancel this if it was a mistake. Otherwise, you'll save this. Then once you save that, you'll see that global health indicators has been added. We don't have the description yet. If you have a description, then you'll see it in the tooltip. You'll notice that it has an arrow. So the arrow is just for expanding and collapsing. So right now, we've not added any standard indicators already to our set, and that's why you see a message that there are no indicators that have already been added. And you can see the number of indicators is still 0 because we've not yet added any. And you can see the first time that we have added it is on 31st January 2024. You also see an icon here viewing of the standard indicators in the set. So when you have already added the indicators, this is what you can quickly use to navigate into the indicators to manage them. Then we finally have an options icon. As an org admin, you can do several tasks. As Aina has already pointed out, you can archive this set. You can only archive something that has no indicators that are being used. Sorry, you can only delete a set that has no indicators being used. Rather, you will have to archive that. And then you can edit the details of the set. So we'll start with edit. And you can see that navigates you to the tab where you can set the details. If we had not added a description, we'll add a description to it of the health, global health indicators. Let me save that. And then we can also jump right into this tab for standard indicators in this set in order to add indicators to it. So say, for example, our first indicator is health vaccinations in primary schools. You can see that just like creating any other indicator in the indicator module, you'll have to indicate a format and a desired direction of progress. So that's the bare minimum. And you can see that these two are mandatory. So we'll save that. And then we can add another indicator, say vaccinations for secondary schools. We can add that as numeric also. And then maybe at some point we will want to aggregate these two. So maybe we'll add aggregate indicators for vaccination. In schools. We'll save that. And once we create these 3 indicators, then we now have standard indicators. So if we navigate back to the indicator library, we can see that the standard indicator list has now these 3 indicators that we have added. We can see the set name is Global Health Indicators. We can see that we have a link to the indicator name. If you select this, you will see the indicator. Let me just navigate to that, then you'll see that. You see that opens for you the indicator. But let's just pop back to the list so that we can tell you what else has been done. You can see that it has a format and the desired direction of progress. We've not really added a reporting frequency because we just added the mandatory fields as of yet. And you can see that they are active, all of them. And so if we want to now add details for the indicator, you can already do this at the global level, at the indicator library level. You don't have to go to the indicator module to add this. So the first thing you'll notice is that we have 2 tabs. This is the details of the indicator. The second tab is analytics, which we'll come back to. The first section is the details where we'll add the number. We can add the number. The format we already added, but you can always change it to percentage or qualitative. You can change the name, desired direction of progress, unit of measure, reporting frequency. We already have that set here. The description, you can add notes, and you can also add disaggregation types to this indicator. The disaggregation types that you can add, though, are only the standard ones, which we only have country, and the ones that you have custom at org level. So I'll just add that for just demonstration purposes. So please note that you cannot add disaggregation types at workflow level 1 level, because remember that at project level, those disaggregation types are used within specific projects, not at organization level. So this is why you can only add disaggregation types for organization level. And then once you make an edit on this, then you can save. You'll also notice that there's a lock icon on each field. So because we say that this is a way to standardize your organization to be able to use these indicators, then every field is locked. What that means is that when this indicator is used in the indicator module, people will not be able to edit whatever information you've already added to this indicator unless you do so as the org admin. So any org admin can change this, and you can unlock this and say, maybe I would like people to be able to edit the name. So you can unlock this, and once you unlock that and save, then you can see that you're being told that you've unlocked this field, and therefore it means that people will be able to edit at least the name of this indicator. But if you leave everything else locked, that means that when we use this particular indicator in the indicator module, when the project is being utilized, then they're not able to edit this particular values for the fields. And that is what you really need to know about editing this indicator. So you can do all these things already at indicator level. We're not at the indicator module yet, and it gives you a lot of leverage to be able to govern what exactly can be edited and what can't be edited. So we'll leave that for now and go back to the indicator module. The indicator library. I want to show you how to add them to projects. And so if we want to add to project, we'll select this third tab, add to project, select a set to add to. So our set was global health indicators. Once you select the set, you can see that you have an option to add to the list below all standard indicators from that selected test. So you don't have to add them one by one by one. You can actually select this, and once you do that, all of that is already added here and added here for you, for your convenience, so that you don't have to do that yourself. Otherwise, you can pick one by one if you don't want to select all of them from the set. That's also possible. So once you update this list, you can see that there's one thing here written create as aggregated indicator. So what we need to know here is which indicator do you want to be aggregated and which one do you want to leave as non-aggregated. So all indicators, when you create them in the indicator module, in the indicator library, they are by default non-aggregated indicators. But if you want to set some of them as aggregated once they are added to the project, then you want to indicate this. So for this aggregated indicator that I created, I'd like this one at least to be treated as an aggregated indicator and leave the other ones as non-aggregated or as normal indicators. The last section you'll see is where you now select the project where you want them to be distributed to. And the good news here is that you can add more than one project. So I have project X here. I can also add it to project X2 and so on and so forth. So I can add all these indicators to all these projects here. And that's the beauty and the power of this feature. You now don't have to go to the indicator module and add those indicators one by one. You can select save. And this just is a confirmation message just to check, are you sure that you want to add these indicators to these projects, right? So if you confirm that and you're good to go, then that will, in the background, add these specific indicators to those specific projects that we've already listed. That is actually how you utilize this. And you can, continue using that now with different projects, and because they're already set within sets. And that's how you utilize this. The last thing that you need to know is now, if you go to the indicator module, you will see that in the different workflow, the different projects that we already have, you'll see that those indicators have been added. But if you want your project, the people who are dealing with a certain project to be able to utilize these indicators, these global indicators that you've selected, then they can actually do that in projects, and they can have that already within this level of the project level. And so you'll see that your list now has them. You can see we have health vaccination in primary school, we have vaccination for secondary school, and we have aggregated. And you can see that this one was specifically created as an aggregated indicator, and you can now come and add the contributing indicators to that aggregated indicator at this level, at the project level. So that's the real beauty and real work that this can do for you within your organizations. Do you have any questions, Anya, maybe before I proceed with anything else?
I'll unmute myself there. We have one question I see coming in. I can just share this now. So our first question we have there, it's kind of more around how the different languages of standard indicators can be handled. So this user has a project that works in different regions and they need a standard indicator. That is actually a great question. So I think I can speak from sort of the customer side first. In terms of this, I don't think it's something that has been, I suppose, that the feature can support at this time. What I would recommend is using the notes section to kind of add the exact title translated, or of course you could leave it unlocked and edit the title as well. I'm not sure if you have anything to add on that, Hilda, or if it's something, because I suppose the purpose of these indicators are to lock them and have them standard, that for changing something like the titles, it would only be for something like changing the language.
Yeah, I would agree with you, Anya. So, for example, one way that we can utilize that is to create the indicators in the specific languages. For example, if it's in French or in Espanol, and then create different sets for the different regions. I think that would be a massive help already. We don't have language translation in the application, but at least for the name of the indicators, I would advise the same as Anya, that we can create them in different languages, and then that can already help the different teams in the different regions. And the sets will also help because you can group them in for the different regions and label them as well, so that way it's very clear to different regions which ones to use.
Yeah, excellent. So have like preset English, French. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. So I want to pop out one small addition that we added to this feature, if that's okay, on the indicator module. So I can pop back to the application, please.
Yeah, sure. We can come back to the questions later on.
Yeah. So one last thing that we added to this feature is that not just on the indicator library, if now the project coordinators want to be able to utilize these indicators, we added a few options here in the add new indicator. You can see now it's not just adding an indicator manually, but we have adding indicator manually bulk import, which we already had existing. But the third option is now add from indicator library, which when you select, you can now go in there and select the standard indicator set that we already had created, which is like global health indicators. You can add to the list all of them, or just choose one by one if you wanted to just add a couple of them, and then add those indicators to the list, and then now save that. So if you do that, then that will push now these specific indicators to this specific project only. So if also for project coordinators within project level, within regional level, we also have that feature available. So it's not just for org admins, but also for people who have access within that specific project as project managers, then they can do that. Yeah, so that's a feature. We are so excited about it, and we are willing to hear your feedback about how you're using it and see how if it can help you out in your organizations.
Amazing. Thanks.
You.
I'm going to jump back into the questions now. I see another few have came through. So this next question is from a user who says, did I see correctly that the total actuals formula cannot be set nor locked for the standard indicators? I'll hand that one over to you, Hilda.
Yes, we can go back to the application and I can show that part of the screen. Sorry. I can navigate into the indicator we created. So yes, as part of the details, we just have the normal details that we usually have within indicators. As a first section, the description, the notes, and the disaggregation types. So yes, the total actuals formula is not yet set at the standard level, at the global indicator level. But then when you already utilize that within the project, then you can select the total actuals formula as you're also adding the collected data items. So that part for the collected data items, we did not add for these global indicators as of yet.
Brilliant. Thanks for that, Hilda. The next question then will follow on. Actually, I see a few questions coming in now. So can standard indicators be predefined as aggregated indicators of a specific project, or do I still need to manually add them as contributing indicators? I feel like we might have answered this as we went throughout the demo. So yes, this could have been an early on question. So you can, when you're adding them to the projects, you can then define if you want them to be aggregated or not.
Yes, you're right, Anya. So we do add these contributing indicators right after you utilize them within the project, so that within those specific projects is when you actually define what are going to be the contributing indicators of that aggregated indicator. But at least as at the time, either you're pushing them at the org level or within a specific project, when you're pulling them into the project, then you can define whether you want it to be aggregated or not.
Exactly. Thanks for that, Hilda. On to the next. Can I bulk import into the indicator library instead of the indicator section? That's actually a great question as well. Pass that to you.
Yeah, that's a very good question. It's actually something I had not pointed out. Thank you for asking that. So yes, at the set level, so once you're inside the set and you want to add the indicators, you can add them one by one, or you can bulk import them. So the same bulk import feature that you're used to in the indicator module, we actually replicated it here. And the template is different though. So you'd want to download the template specifically for this, and then add the indicators, save it, and then choose the file and import it. So yes, you can actually do bulk import, but the template is slightly different because of locking the indicators, which is actually another point that I need to mention. When you're importing in bulk for these standard indicators, you need to indicate which one will actually be locked and which one will not be locked when you're importing them, so that it can be easier for you. The system will just put it in, and then that way you can just change them later if you want to do that for yourself.
Great, thanks, Hilda. Next question then we have, is it possible to have some indicator being aggregated in one project and being aggregated in another project?
Yes, so go ahead, Anya, sorry.
No, so I was just going to say, I think that this user is asking, can you aggregate the same indicator in two projects?
So you can, let me say you can add them as the same indicator, the same aggregated indicator can be added to different projects. And you can aggregate aggregated indicators. And so you can still continue adding the aggregated indicator within the global standard level, and then now utilize it, add the contributing indicators, within when you're at the indicator module level. So what I mean is, for example, if we can pop back to the application, I can show a small demonstration of that.
Mm-hmm.
So this aggregated indicator that we had, if you remember it, so when we are actually pushing this back, so if we go back one step, and if we are adding it to the project, if we add this over, we can add it to different projects, right? And we can put multiple projects here. So this aggregated indicator can actually go to different projects. And then once you have it in the project, you can add the contributing indicators that you want to add for that aggregated indicator to achieve what you want to do. At least it's a two-step process as opposed to being so many steps that was there initially.
Great, thank you for answering that, Hilda. On to the next question. Does this mean only org admins can add and assign indicators to individual projects?
Not exactly. From the indicator library, the org admins are the ones who have the permission to add, the sets and the list of the indicators themselves, and to push them to projects. But then, as I said, that in the indicator module, once this has already been created, any person, depending on the permissions. So what I mean is, if you come here to this particular project, the team tab determines who has access and which level of access that they have in this particular project. So this is what I mean in terms of the team. So someone who has view-only access, for example, in this team, cannot add indicators, within that particular project. So what I mean is, even if they come here, they will not be able to add indicators from that library. But someone who has this particular access, so for example, project admin, then they can come here and add indicators from the indicator library at project level. But at indicator library level, we've given that access to org admins, at least to be able to create sets and to be able to create indicators and send them to projects.
Great, thanks for that, Hilda. So then in essence, the org admins can set up the indicators in the indicator library, and then the normal permissions apply to the indicator section for project admin edit users who can add them.
Yes,
Great.
exactly.
Thanks for that. I'm going to pop back into the questions now. That's answered. So on to the next. This is a nice feature. Thank you. We have 3 regions in our organization. It requires us to repeat adding indicators to each regional office.
Yeah, it's gonna be powerful for regional offices for sure, Anya. I think this is going to be impactful because you'll be able to add different indicators for all the different regions and maximize that and save time.
Yeah, I think this is a perfect use case. So thanks for your feedback. I know we're running slightly over time, so we can fly through the rest of these. I meant not being aggregated in another project. Oh, so this could be a follow on from that second question. I meant not being aggregated in another project. So if I'm following, so you're aggregating the indicators in separate projects. For this question, I'm just in the interest of saving time as well. If you have a particular question, get in touch with us as well, and we can follow on with this question. Can standard indicators be predefined as aggregated indicators as a, we answered this one already, or I need to manual add. Okay, perfect. So we actually may have got through all the questions. Is it possible to have the same indicator being aggregated? Okay, brilliant. With that, we actually got through all the questions. So if there is any other questions, outline if you're watching this back, or if you're watching this on YouTube, please get in touch with us as well with support@toladata.com. I can see we still have people with us, so thanks for hanging on the end there the last few minutes because we did go slightly over. But thanks a million for joining us today.
Thank you so much. Have a lovely day.
Great. Have a good day. Bye-bye.
Bye.